Be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good evening, Philippines. Maayong gabi sa Tubog, Mindanao, Visayas, ug sa Luzon. Ako po si Eric Espina. Ito ang inyong Republika. Nasa sentro po rin po ng ating usapin ang nasa headlines. Hindi talaga natin maiwasan itong anumang klaseng matatawag nating political entity, ang Bangsamoro political entity. At sa mga susunod po nating mga episodes ay tututukan po natin to dahil mahalagang usapin po ito na kailangan himayin. Hindi lamang ng mga taong nag-iisip bagkos ay pati po ng masang Pilipino upang matikman nila at manamnam nila kung ano ang kahalagahan nito, kung ano ang posibleng mangyari, lalo't hindi natin maunawaan ang usaping ito. Kaya sa gabing ito ay inimbitahan po natin ang chairman ng NATFIL. Alamin natin ano ibig sabihin ng NATFIL, ano itong grupo nito. Walang iba kung hindi si Ferdy Passion. Okay, Ferdy.
Good evening to all the televiewers and to you, Eric,
Yeah.
My idol.
Hindi naman.
Well, the NATFIL stands for the Nationalist Filipinos for against foreign intervention. Because the nation now is at a grave danger. And so all patriots are called upon to stand up and be counted and not allow our nation to disintegrate, because this is the nation for which Rizal and all our great heroes shed their blood. So we must not allow their blood to be wasted and just go to the waste can. We must take care of this country. Even if we are to fight for it, we must do so. But of course, as long as we can get what we want through peaceful means, then we will do so.
NATFIL, no? Kontra kayo doon sa mga pakikialam ng mga banyagang bansa. Ganun,
yes, particularly what is happening now in the south with regards to the Mindanao issue. Ang parating sinasabi ng mga dating presidente natin, it is an internal affair for which the other countries should not interfere. And this is an international principle, non-interference in the internal affairs of a sovereign country. And we view Malaysia particularly as a hostile country. Why? Because we have a history with Malaysia. If you would remember, Malaysia took Sabah illegally from the Philippines, because Sabah, if you will read the history, the Sultan of Brunei ceded Sabah to the Sultan of Sulu,
yes.
because the Sultan of Sulu sent forces to help the Sultan of Brunei quash a rebellion.
Correct.
In gratitude, the Sultan of Brunei ceded Sabah to the Sultan of Sulu. Now, the North Borneo Company leased or rented Sabah from the Sultan of Sulu, and but however, when Malaysia got its independence from Britain, North Borneo, the British North Borneo Company, being a British company, illegally ceded Sabah to Malaysia without asking the permission of the Sultan of Sulu. And so, the Sultan of Sulu, in order to recover what was stolen by the British and the Malaysians, ceded the Sabah to the Republic of the Philippines during the time of President Macapagal. And President Macapagal tried to get Sabah back for the Philippines through peaceful means, particularly through the International Court of Justice. But since the Malaysians knew the caliber of Arturo Tolentino and Jovito Salonga, natakot sila. They did not allow International Court of Justice jurisdiction over the matter. And as we all know, the International Court of Justice demands that the two parties to the question should submit themselves. Otherwise, the ICJ cannot gain jurisdiction. And so we view Malaysia as a very hostile country, an enemy country, in fact. And yet, the president, we are surprised that the president allowed Malaysia to demand to play everything, and the Prime Minister himself was there in Malacanang during
Third-party mediator.
Yes, and this is not a mediator. This is a very interested party. This is a hostile country, in fact, and we should not have allowed Malaysia to interfere. You know why? They insisted that first of all, the Bangsamoro should be called Bangsamoro.
Okay.
When in fact, during the Tripoli Agreement and the 1996 final agreement, even Chairman Nur Miswari himself agreed that this term will no longer be used. Why? Because President Marcos and President Ramos will never allow it. Why? Because bansa, as we all know, connotes nation-state.
Correct.
And if there are two nation-states in this country, we cannot be one country anymore.
Ferdy, ulitin mo lang yun, para run by me, sabi nga ng Amerikano, run that by me again, so that madinig uli ng mga tao, no? Si Ramos mismo at si Miswari, alam niya na hindi pwedeng gamitin itong term na ito since 1996.
Yes, 1976 with Marcos, 1996 with President Ramos. Chairman Nur was very reasonable in not...
Pumayag.
Yes, and in fact, the Constitution specifically names it Autonomous Region for Muslim Mindanao. Nowhere in the Constitution can you find Bangsamoro.
Okay.
Nowhere in the Constitution can you find sub-state. There's no such thing as a sub-state.
Okay.
A sub-state, for the information of Dean Leonen, the so-called dean of the College of Law of the University of the Philippines, I don't know if he knows that a sub-state is just a prelude to becoming a state.
Okay.
There is no sub-state that will stay a sub-state forever.
Correct.
And there is no sub-state in the Constitution. It is unconstitutional. The term Bangsamoro is unconstitutional.
Maybe what he is thinking about is an infant state.
Well,
waiting to mature into
waiting for the Malaysians to go in and prevent the armed forces. You know what happened to Kosovo? This is I always like to mention Kosovo and East Timor, which is now Timor-Leste.
Yeah.
The so-called International Contact Group, the ICG, which to me sounds like mafiosi, insisted. The United States and the NATO countries insisted that Kosovo and Timor first be given some sort of a sub-state status.
Okay.
And when Yugoslavia allowed it, when Indonesia allowed it, what did Kosovo and Timor-Leste do? Immediately after Kosovo declared independence, immediately after the sub-state status, the Timor-Leste declared independence. And what did the International Contact Group that was supposed to be friendly and neutral did? They immediately recognized the independence of Kosovo. They immediately recognized the independence of Timor-Leste. What are these countries now that are interfering in the International Contact Group? We have Turkey, which is a member of the NATO.
Okay.
The United States, which is thousands of miles away from Mindanao.
Yes.
Japan,
Yes.
which is oil-starved. We have Australia, which represents the British Crown.
Yes.
And we have Malaysia and other countries. Why are we going to allow these people? You know, to us,
why do you think we are internationalizing a domestic and internal affair?
I think the president has already cut his ties from our long-standing policy of keeping our territorial integrity safe. The president is now willing to play with fire, and he's not thinking far ahead into the future. He just wants with all due respect to the president, he just wants to have an achievement before his term ends.
A legacy.
A legacy, but
This will be his legacy.
I sure hope it will not be his legacy, because he will be known in history as the worst president if this is his legacy. Why? Because, first of all, the agreement includes Palawan. Let us not let all the people know about that. Once the Bangsamoro, which the president himself has already recognized as such, Bangsamoro, another country, another nation state, Bangsa, declares independence, and America and other countries like Malaysia recognizes its independence and sends quote-unquote peacekeeping forces. This is what happened in Timor-Leste and Kosovo, so don't tell me that this is just a conspiracy theory. Once they send peacekeeping forces there, the armed forces and the Philippine National Police can no longer enter. And another thing, before all this hula-baloo, the Philippine government ratified the treaty regarding the International Criminal Court. What is this? Under the terms of the International Criminal Court Treaty, any soldier or policeman that violates international laws can be hailed to that court and be charged with war crimes.
Correct.
And this is what happened to the Yugoslavs. This is what happened to some Indonesian officers.
Correct.
So if the International Contact Group, United States, Britain, Australia, Japan, etc., recognizes the independence of Bangsamoro, then and they send peacekeeping forces under the banner of the United Nations, for example, and our generals and colonels and other soldiers try to stop the secession, they can be arrested and hailed to the International Court of Justice and probably be hanged as war criminals.
Ferdy, let me ask you, we're talking here about an issue like Sabah. How come we do not hear this kind of discourse in the public domain? It's not given emphasis in the newspapers. The government, well, President Aquino says the Philippine claim to Sabah is dormant. But how come this historical narrative, is it purposely avoided? Are we trying to forget this? It's out of the table. Why is it not made or talked about in public?
The problem, I think, is that this administration is very short range in its views and does not have a sense of history, and probably it lacks patriotism, with all due respect. There were a lot of Filipinos who died trying to recover Sabah, and we don't want this to be forgotten, because as a state, as a self-respecting nation, a member of the United Nations, one of the oldest republics in Asia, we should not forget to try to recover this national patrimony of ours.
Correct.
Imagine, Sabah, the Malaysians now are getting 1 million barrels of oil per day in Sabah, and they are earning $75 million per day. And together with the other wealth of Sabah, including timber, $150 million per day. Should we just allow this to go to waste? I believe that, first of all, the president's mother, I question her action in the 1987 Constitution. We all know that the Constitutional Commission which drafted that Constitution were all appointed by the President.
What you're saying is they didn't have any mandate.
Yes, they did not have any mandate, and yet they dropped our claim to Sabah by erasing the phrase in our national territory and all other territories belonging to the Philippines by historic right or legal title. What right do they have to do that? Anyway, according to Senator,
Why do you think that happened?
I don't know.
Can you at least, do you have any idea? Because we may not have any idea. You might know something we don't.
Well, the Malaysians, of course, may have probably infiltrated the Malacanang at that time, and
Are you saying that the Malaysians had good relations with the post Marcos administration?
yes, very good relations because remember that President Cory was the widow of the late Senator Benigno Aquino, and Senator Benigno Aquino was the one who exposed to the public and to the whole world, including to Malaysia and the United States and to the British, the plan of the Republic of the Philippines to invade Sabah. But the plan was legal. Why? Because there was no other way. There was no other recourse. The Malaysians refused to let the issue be under the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. And as a nation, we have the right to, if we have the means, we have the right to claim what is rightfully ours, even by force of arms, because we are a nation state, we are a republic.
What do you know about the operation, supposedly, Ferdy? I mean, if you can contribute, were there plans to take over Sabah?
Yes, it was called Operation Merdeka, and some of our relatives were even involved. And some
your relatives? You're saying your relatives?
Yes, I have relatives who were with the armed forces, and in fact, an uncle of mine was with the Philippine Navy, and some of our the good friends of my uncle and my father were also with that Operation Merdeka. I will no longer mention their names because they are now businessmen trying to live silent lives. And these people are telling me that we should not just surrender our claim to Sabah because it is ours. It is ours because the Sultan of Sulu ceded it to the Republic of the Philippines, hoping that the Republic of the Philippines will do something about it. Imagine how many schools, how many persons now with sickness and disease can be helped by the income coming. And imagine there are many domestic helpers in Sabah, in Malaysia now, in Sabah, Filipinos. And what is worse is that the native-born Sabahans,
the Tausugs.
the Tausugs who were born there, even their ancestors, they are now being sent away. And in fact, many
deported.
of them
They're being
deported. They are now many of them are now in Zamboanga, and because the Malaysian authorities say that they are Filipinos.
Okay.
So if these native-born Sabahans are Filipinos, therefore Sabah belongs to the Philippines. If we follow the logic of the Malaysians. Now, we think that the Malaysians are now orchestrating this Bangsamoro so that the Sabah will be forgotten. And we believe that, with all due respect, that since it is only Chairman Nur that is vocal in calling upon our brother Filipino Muslims to do everything they can to recover Sabah for the Philippines, I believe that Chairman Nur is the proper person to talk to and not the MILF. Why? Because the MILF have not issued any statement regarding Sabah, and the MILF is very much
quiet.
Closely related, not only quiet, but closely related to the Malaysians. In fact, when President Arab declared an all-out war, and in just 1 week, the armed forces was able to get all these camps.
July of 2000, Camp Abu Bakar fell.
With all due respect, some leaders of the MLF went to Malaysia.
Yeah, Hashim Salamat fled to Malaysia.
Yes,
that's
and
true.
but when Chairman Nur declared the rebellion against during the incumbency of President Gloria Arroyo, and his forces were overwhelmed by the armed forces of the Philippines, and he was forced to flee to Sabah. He was arrested by the Malaysian authorities and immediately deported back to the Philippines, and President Arroyo imprisoned him. So I think the Malaysian hand is very apparent here, and we should as Filipinos not allow this to happen.
Ferdy, let me ask you, who is the real Filipino Muslim here? Or let's go as far as who is the real Bangsamoro here? Nur Miswari, who is saying we should recover Sabah? Or Hashim Salamat, who says we should create a Bangsamoro territory, quiet about the Filipino Bangsamoro in Sabah?
I think, if we are really going to study history, all of us are Bangsamoros.
Okay.
You know why? Because even Professor Saide and Teodoro Agoncillo, noted historians, say that the 10 Bornean datus, originally from the Sultanate of Brunei, were the ones who populated Luzon and the Visayas. They were Muslims. We were Muslims before the arrival of the Spaniards. And the Sultan of Brunei and the Sultan of Sulu are, in fact, relatives. And it just so happens that when the Westerners came, the Moros of Luzon and Visayas were converted to Christianity. Now, I really am, I think this is a comedy, the concept of ancestral domain. Why? For me, if I am a Magindanaoan or a Tausug, I will not allow a small part of the Philippines to be my ancestral domain. I want the entire Philippines to be my ancestral domain. That's why we have now Filipino Muslims in Lawag. We have now a sizable population of Filipino Muslims in Tugigaraw. And even in my ancestral domain of Quiapo.
In fact, when you have to be straight about it, your ancestral domain is your entire country.
Yes.
Because it is the land of your birth.
That's right.
And it is the people that you should embrace.
Yes.
Everyone, regardless of religion, and this is the community that you belong to.
Imagine what will happen to the Philippines if this thing happens and suddenly all Filipino Muslims become citizens of this Bangsamoro. If it is a sub-state, will they become a sub-citizens of the Republic? Or are we going to send them back and deport them all to Mindanao because Luzon and Visayas are no longer their ancestral domain? That is a silly idea. I think it is a foreign idea injected into us by the Malaysians, injected into us by the Americans. There's no such thing as an ancestral domain.
Why are the Malaysians still meddling in our affairs? They already have Sabah anyway.
Well,
so why do they continue to meddle there? If I will follow your theory, no? Why do they continue to meddle into our internal affairs? Anyway, they're holding on to Sabah. They're making money out of it. So what is there for them?
Because the Malaysians have some sort of a central intelligence agency that looks far beyond the future, which sadly I think we do not have. Because now they are enjoying Sabah, but who knows, sometime in the future, the Philippines might have a president like Marcos again, like Macapagal again, or somebody like Hugo Chavez, who strengthens the armed forces and revives the claim to Sabah. And again, for example, in the future, we may have again such brilliant lawyers as Salonga and Arturo Tolentino.
Could it be possible that one of the greatest fears of Malaysia is for the Philippines to eventually unite, or for Christians and Muslims to actually embrace each other and realize that we are not the enemy?
Precisely.
But the enemy is outside our borders.
Precisely.
Is that the kind of awakening, do you think, that the Malaysians are scared of? And that is why they would rather continue this kind of sponsored rebellion?
Precisely. You got it exactly. and it's now beginning because Chairman Noor is now, I think, beginning to understand that we are better off as one country. And I think by not insisting on the term Bangsamoro, I think he's a reasonable man. And there are a lot of, by the way, there are a lot of Filipino Muslims who do not view the MILF as properly representing them.
Okay.
We must remember that the MILF, all their leaders have not been elected. They gained their so-called quote-unquote mandate through the force of arms. And not all Filipino Muslims believe that they should just be separated and just stay in that ancestral domain. In fact, many of them have voted with their feet. They are now in Lawag, they are now in Tugigaraw, they are now in Quiapo. They consider themselves as Filipinos.
You know, Jerry, many of the, well, great presidents in history and even locally are presidents that usually increase the size of their territory.
Yes.
You also have good presidents that are able to defend their territory. Of course, the worst kind of president is those that will lose some of their territory. Yeah, do you agree with that?
Yes, not only that. The president has sworn to keep the territorial integrity of the republic safe and the sovereignty of the republic protected. And if he continues with this, I'm afraid, with all due respect to the president, he will be open to impeachment. And the charges against him will be, number one, betrayal of public trust, number two, the high crime of treason, and number three, culpable violation of the Constitution.
Okay, I'll stop you there. We're going to pause for a few reminders. And Ferdy, you will continue with what you were saying, but one point that I'd like to ask you is, the framework with the Bangsamoro is a political commitment. Can that form the basis for an impeachment as the crimes that you have cited when Republica returns? Okay, you're back with us sa Republica. We're talking to Ferdy Pasion, the chairman of NATFIL. Ferdy, you talked about the possible grounds for the president's impeachment, no? But you know, some people might think we're putting things too way ahead, no? Because they're saying, oh, this is just a political document, you know. So he may or may not have committed this so-called alleged crimes, no? But and can that form the basis for any impeachment?
This may just be a quote-unquote political document, but this is the start of something that will destroy the republic. Another thing is that why did he allow the signing when the appendices are not yet in existence?
They're absent, in short.
The framework agreement speaks of Appendix A, Appendix B, but when you look at Appendix A, there is nothing in there.
Okay.
In fact, they are now in Spain. Why is it that they are in Spain? They are trying to copy a state called Navarra in Spain. But first of all, we must think that Spain has a different constitution than we have. Spain is a monarchy. They have a parliament.
Correct.
We have a republic, and we are under a presidential system.
Correct.
And why is it that the MILF and the Malaysians are insisting that the head be called the chief minister?
Correct.
Or something like that? It connotes that there are two presidents, there are two chief executives in this country. The Constitution speaks only of one chief executive. And why chief minister? We all know that Malaysia is a federation. It is a federal republic. Each state is headed by a chief minister.
Correct.
Will this now pave the way for later on for the Bangsamoro with its chief minister to swear their allegiance to the Federation of Malaysia and join the Federation of Malaysia?
To break away from the Philippines and as a federation join Malaysia.
Yes.
And what do you think Malaysia will do?
Well, it will send
will Malaysia right away recognize this new federation?
Of course, gladly they will do that. In fact, I think it's part of their plan all along.
Okay.
And I sure hope that these people in our NISA, in our NICA, please wake up. I have so much respect for our Secretary of National Defense and our Armed Forces Chief of Staff and even our President, our Commander-in-Chief. I hope that patriotism will open their minds, that they will no longer think of this moment, but way ahead in the future. We are talking of our country, the very existence of our country. We do not want our country to become like Yugoslavia. You look at Yugoslavia now. They have Bosnia-Herzegovina. They have even the two states that remained separated. Montenegro is now an independent republic. They have Fyrom, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. They have Kosovo, and what have you. Do we want this to happen to our country?
What do you say to people who, especially you have a lot of these religious peace advocates who are saying, oh, if you are against the framework, you are anti-peace. You are not for peace. You are against peace. You are against the resolution of a 40-year war, 40-plus years of war, if you are against this framework.
How can there be peace with this framework when, first of all, a sizable portion of the Muslim Filipino population is not being invited to the peace table? Like the group of MNLF. The composition of the Transitory Commission is composed of 8 MILF representatives and 7 government representatives. From the 7 government representatives, one of whom shall come from the MNLF. So in short, there will be only 6 government representatives. And there are many Muslim Filipino groups in Mindanao, not just MNLF, not just MILF. If we want peace, we must talk to all Muslim groups, and we must make sure that this thing is constitutional.
By the way, Ferdy, do you know that under our constitution, in the creation of the autonomous regions, there has to be a multi-sectoral advisory group.
That's right.
And this multi-sectoral advisory group cannot come from only one organization.
That's right.
That's under Article 10.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the question is the Bangsamoro actually, in simple terms, just MILF Incorporated?
Of course not.
In short, is Bangsamoro just the product of an MILF corporation?
In the first place, the term Bangsamoro was not even invented by the MILF. It was invented by the MNLF, by Chairman Nur himself. The term Bangsamoro was invented by Chairman Nur, not the MILF.
And the MNLF, am I correct to say that is the one recognized by the OIC as the representative of the Filipino Muslims?
Yes, and in fact, it is the MNLF that is recognized by the Republic of the Philippines. The Republic of the Philippines entered into an agreement with the MNLF in Tripoli in 1976, and here in the Philippines with the final agreement under President Ramos. And the Philippines cannot just throw away that document. That is binding, as Chairman Nur said in one interview, because this can be viewed as an international treaty. International treaties to which the Philippines have ratified form part of the law of the land. It is written in our Constitution.
In many other agreements, aside from the 1976 Tripoli Agreement, the OIC has also accepted certain things, that the welfare of the Filipino Muslims is a domestic and an internal affair.
Yes.
That's also accepted among the OIC.
Yes.
Number 2, that whatever reforms that should be introduced should be within the framework of the Philippine Constitution.
Yes. And President Marcos was very consistent in saying that this is not a religious problem.
Correct.
This is not an ethnic problem. This is an economic problem. Why is it not an ethnic problem? I'm willing to have a portion of my blood examined, and the blood of Chairman Nur, and the blood of the Sultan of Sulu, and the blood of those in Sabah. We just have one DNA. We are all Filipinos. We belong to the same race.
Okay.
So this is not an ethnic question.
Who has real title? We're talking here, centered to all this, I think, if we're saying that Malaysia is actually responsible, is culpable for perhaps what I call a ricochet rebellion. I call this a ricochet rebellion because the originator was originally the Philippines in trying to retake Sabah. No? So this is a ricochet rebellion after the expose in the Senate.
Exactly.
No? Okay. So if Sabah is the real issue here, is is any senator, any president willing to say, okay, to finally have peace, let's just give up Sabah? As one senator once said, anyway, the Panatag Shoal, the common Filipino does not understand what it is. It is willing to give it up. So, what do you think?
Well, I think senators like that should be booted out of the government. And anyway, there is a decision dated December 19, 1939, by no less than a British court in North Borneo, the High Court of North Borneo. At the time, Borneo was under British sovereignty. It is the British themselves, through the High Court of North Borneo, which stated that the successor in sovereignty of the Sultan is no other than the government of the Republic of the Philippines. And so if the British themselves recognize that it is the Philippines that has sovereignty over Borneo, over Sabah, then they fully know that they do not have any right to pass it on to Malaysia. And Malaysia has no right whatsoever to stay there. And
So with that being said, we're talking about the Sultanate of Sulu passing on this real estate to the Philippine government. So our responsibility is to protect the interest of the Sultanate of Sulu.
yes.
And by protecting the interest of the Sultanate of Sulu, we're actually delivering a message to the entire Filipino Muslims.
Yes.
Isn't that correct?
Yes.
If we are able to pursue the claim of the Sultanate of Sulu, we're actually saying that we are supporting the welfare of all Filipino Muslims.
That's right, because when the income from Sabah...
And this has title, no?
Yes.
These people have title.
Yes.
And the MILF, do they have title?
The MILF,
To these territories that they're claiming?
they do not have any title. They do not even have... I question their mandate. They have not been elected by the people.
So what is their special power of attorney?
I don't know from what mandate do they have.
But would it be fair to say that their mandate is Mr. M16, Mr. Armalite, and Madam RPG?
And yes, and these are all made in
Rocket propelled grenade?
These are all made in Britain and USA, by the way.
or given by Malaysia?
I've seen a lot of insurgencies in different parts of the world. They are using AK-47. But these people, they are, you look at their guns. It's made in Belgium, made in NATO countries, made in Britain, made in USA. Some of them are made in Malaysia. The Malaysians taught them how to make RPGs. They are now manufacturing RPGs in Mindanao. And it's very sad that these things are happening to our country. And all Filipinos that have a sense of history, that still believe that this country can be great again, are very sad in what is happening now. Because, there are two things that can happen. This can be a success, or this can be a failure. Now, if it is a failure, I'm sure it will lead to bloodshed. I'm sure it will lead to bloodshed. Because the MILF will now say that there's no other recourse but to pursue our aims with the force of arms. I hope that this will not happen, but it's already happening. Muslims, Filipino Muslims against fellow Filipino Muslims.
Ito, no? Tatagalogin ko ito, Ferdy, no? Kung yari ikaw isang Filipino Muslim, hindi ka masaya sa nangyayari sa bansa mo dahil ikaw ay Filipino Muslim. Okay? Mag-aalsa ka ba kontra sa sarili mong mga kababayan, kontra sa sarili mong bansa? Kung tapos, ang magbibigay pa sa iyo ng pondo at magbibigay sa iyo ng armas, pagsasanay, kalinga, ay mismong isang bansa, isang dayuhan, na nagkamkam ng mas malaking lupa na dapat ay pinanghahawakan ng tinatawag nating mga Filipino Muslim o ng binabansagan nilang Bangsamoro. So kung ikaw ay may integridad, ay may paninindigan, sino ba dapat ang kakalabanin mo? Yung sarili mong bansa? Sarili mong mga kababayan? o yung dayuhan na nagbibigay sa iyo ng baril para kalabanin ng sarili mong kababayan, o yung dayuhan na kumamkam ng mas malaking lupain na dapat ay para sa iyo? Tatagalogin ko yun para maintindihan ng publiko.
Yan ang problema pagka hindi gagap ang kanyang identity.
Okay.
Ano
ano ba paniwala niya sarili siya? Malaysian siya.
Yun na nga hindi.
Kaya kinakalaban niya ang Pilipino, ganun ba?
Kulang sa pag-aaral ng history, kulang sa paggagap ng kanyang identity bilang Filipino-Muslim. Dapat unawain niya na bago nagkaroon ng ganito, ang Bangsamoro, ang pinaka-leader ay yung Sultan of Sulu.
Correct.
Ninakaw ng Malaysia,
Oo.
kasama ang isang puti,
Oo.
Britain, puti,
Oo, yes.
na kalaban ng Islam.
Oo.
Etong Sabah,
Oo.
at dapat ang tulungan ng MILF, katulad ng ginagawa ni Chairman Nur, ang tinutulungan niya yung Sultan of Sulu, dapat ang tulungan ng MILF yung Sultan of Sulu and the Republic of the Philippines para mabawi yung Sabah, para maiahon sa hirap ang mga naghihirap nating mga kababayan sa buong Pilipinas. Hindi, meron naman mga kapatid tayong Muslim sa Tugigaraw nga, sa Lawag, sa Maynila. Buong Pilipinas, paunlarin natin.
Ito, Ferdy, theoretical na lang ito, theoretical na lang ito. What if, kasi dati si Brother Nur, kinalaban din tayo, no? Siyempre, tinulungan din siya sa simula, initially, ng Malaysia.
Oo.
Ngayon, nagising siya. Nagising siya. Sa pagkagising niya, sa pagkamulat niya, naisip niya na, ang tunay na kalaban pala dito, hindi ang Manila.
Yes.
Hindi ang pamahalaang Pilipino. Hindi ang kapwa Pilipino-Kristiyano.
Oo.
Sila ang ating dapat yakapin. Ang kalaban pala dito, ang nagpapalaban sa atin, nagpapasabong pala sa atin dito, ay ang dayuhan.
Kaya nga
Kaya dapat, ang kalaban dito ay yung Malaysia dahil dapat bawiin natin yung ating sarili, no?
yung Sabah.
So, dito makikita natin, bumaliktad yung nag-about face. Nangumpisal si Brother Nur at parang sinabi, hindi ang Pilipino ang kalaban dito,
Yes.
etong Malaysia ang kalaban. Ngayon, theoretically, what if, biglang nangumpisal ngayon yung MILF at nagyakapan na, I'm just dreaming, of course, I'm just dreaming, no? What if in the realm of the impossibility, the probable happens, Nur Miswari will tell now Hashim Salamat and say, okay, I will sit down with you in the OIC, but the Sabah issue should be form part of the agenda,
Yes,
of the discussions.
yeah,
The return of Sabah should be the important
Tama. Dapat
in the agenda. Ano gagawin ng MILF? Tatanggapin nila o atras sila?
Depende.
Tingin ko, atras sila, no?
Oo, kasi ang problema dito parati yung...
Di mabibisto sila.
sana naman they rise beyond
Okay.
their present situation and become patriots and mag-unite na tayo kasi sobrang ang tagal ng
Okay.
pag-squat ng Malaysia dyan
Ngayon, for example, no? Ito lang naman, nangangarap lang tayo masarap mangarap dahil masyado magulo na bansa natin. It so happens, nagyakapan si Miswari at Hashim Salamat. Biglang sabihin na yun ng Hashim Salamat, okay, payag ako. Naniniwala ako, ang tunay na kalaban dito, yung Malaysia. At gusto ko rin ibalik ang Sabah. Magyakapan tayo. Tapos sabihin natin kay President Aquino, we want the return of Sabah part of your agenda. Sa palagay mo, mananahimik si Presidente Aquino o hindi na sila papansinin? Sige. Ano tingin mo? Sige. Ano lang ito, puro speculative ito. Pero sa tingin nyo, papaboran ni Noynoy Aquino si Hashim Salamat at Nur Miswari o papaboran niya ang Malaysia at sasabihin, wag na natin pag-usapan yan dahil maganda na relasyon natin sa Malaysia?
To be candid about it, andyan kasi ang American influence, nandiyan ang British influence. So I think the President, being very friendly to the United States and Britain, might be inclined to, with all due respect, to side with the Malaysians on this matter.
So even the MILF will be marginalized. I mean,
I think
theoretically, we're just in the realm of speculation. Sabihin ng administrasyon, nagkakaisa pala kayong dalawa, di wag na kayong makialam dito.
Baka maghanap na naman sila ng another Muslim group.
Baka ang lapitan nila yung
BIFF.
BIFF
Brakato.
Si Brakato na makakausapin nila. At yun naman because ang kwento sa akin, when Prime Minister Najib was in Malacanang, sabi daw nila na ang saging daw na namulaklak na at nagkaroon na ng prutas, siguro pinapatungkol niya si Normiswari, pag nagkaroon na raw ng prutas ay dapat putulin na. Kaya that's the reason why ang Malaysians ay sumusuporta na sa MILF at hindi na si MILF.
Palagay ko kaya nila nilaglag si Miswari dahil pumayag nga si Miswari na wag tawaging Bangsamoro under the Tripoli Agreement and under the Final Agreement of 1996. At pumayag na si Nur Miswari, nagpasailalim na siya sa ating konstitusyon. Naging governor pa nga siya ng ARM.
Kaya ayaw ng Malaysia.
Kaya ayaw na ng Malaysia sa kanya.
Okay.
Ang gusto ng Malaysia, perpetual war, at magpatayan kayo dyan mga Pilipino sa kapwa Pilipino para itong Sabah makalimutan at higupin namin ang higupin yung lapis dito. Pagka naubos na yung kayamanan nito, then you can have it. In the meantime, paalisin namin yung mga native-born Sabah dito at with all due respect to our fellow Chinese, karamihan ng Malaysians, Chinese Karamihan nandun sa Sabah ngayon ay mga Chinese Malaysians. Sila nagpapayaman doon. Yung mga native na Sabahans ay sabi, mga Filipino citizens kayo, lumayas kayo. Nandun ngayon sa Zamboanga, nagsisiksikan.
Okay. Ferdy, final word, the last minute. I give it to you. Anong gusto mong sabihin?
Well, ako nananawagan, sana lahat tayo bilang mga Pilipino, kalimutan natin yung ating pansariling kapakanan. Magkaroon naman tayo ng patriotismo at magbasa-basa naman tayo ng history at yung mga sacrifices ng ating Filipino soldiers ay wag naman nating kakalimutan. At hindi lang soldiers, kasi ang daming pinatay ng mga civilians. Nung Corona Court, sabi ng Corona Court, unconstitutional yung MOA AD, which is the exact copy of this framework agreement. Unconstitutional yan. Anong ginawa nila? Kayo, kunwari, MILF breakaway kayo, patayin ninyo lahat ng mga civilian dyan, sunugin yung mga...
Tama.
Hindi ho namin kasama yan, mga breakaway po yan.
Tapos ayaw nila habulin.
Tapos ayaw habulin. Pagkatapos yung Republic of the Philippines ngayon, nagpapasalamat pa kay Commander Bravo at sinusuportahan yung framework agreement. Ang daming pinugutan ng ulo ni Commander Bravo. Ang daming sinunog na bahay. Ito ba mga, sabi nga ni Nur Miswari, may mga krimen nga naman naganap na dapat naman managot yung mga gumawa nito. Dahil kung ako'y mahulihan ng illegal firearm, ako'y aarestuhin kaagad. Samantalang masunurin ako sa batas. Pagkatapos itong mga ito, nakabalandra doon yung hindi naman inaaresto. Anong klaseng republika ito? Ito ba, ipapamana natin sa ating mga susunod na henerasyon? Yung maiiwan sa atin, Luzon na lang at saka Visayas, wala na yung Mindanao at saka yung Palawan.
Okay, well, kaya nga po inimbitahan natin to si Ferdy kasi he's very passionate. Tama-tama apelyido niya, Ferdy Passion. Thank you very much, Ferdy.
Thank you.
This won't be the last time. We'll have you again.
If I am the president, I will make you the head of the CIA of the Philippines.
Huwag naman. Marami pong salamat at tulad po na dati, ito po si Eric Espina, palagi pong nagsasabi sa inyo, magmasid, makialam. Higit sa lahat po ay marindigan dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, maayong gabi, kaninyong tanan.